Hey everyone, welcome back for another deep dive.
Thanks for having me.
Today, we're going behind the scenes of something I know you all deal with every single day. Clothing returns.
It is a big one.
We've got tons of research here.
Yeah.
Global trends. We've got some really fascinating regional quirks, and even some of the psychology behind why people send those packages back.
Yeah, it's interesting stuff.
So by the end of this deep dive, you'll have some serious data-driven strategies to minimize those returns and keep those profits climbing.
That's the goal.
So let's talk big picture here. What's the global situation when it comes to clothing returns?
Well, the average return rate for apparel globally, you're looking at about 26%.
Okay.
Shoes are a little bit higher when bought online at 27%. So think about that. It's a significant amount of inventory just going back and forth.
Right.
And, that impacts your bottom line, your profits, but it also has a huge environmental impact.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
So 27% globally. Let's break down this global return puzzle. What are some of the big picture trends that you're seeing, like regionally?
Well, for starters, Europe is actually leading the return rate race.
Really?
Yeah, with numbers ranging from 22% all the way up to, get this, 58%.
58%. That's wild. What's going on in Europe that's driving those numbers so high?
Well, it's a couple of things, but I'd say those really liberal return policies and something we call bracketing are big players here.
Okay, now I've heard of bracketing, but explain that to our listeners who might not be familiar.
So imagine a customer ordering, say, 3 different sizes of the same dress, knowing they'll only keep 1, maybe 2 at the most.
Right.
That's bracketing. You order a bunch of stuff and you send most of it back. And this is especially common these days because of free shipping and those try before you buy offers.
So it's kind of like customer convenience on one side, but this massive logistical headache for retailers on the other?
Oh, yeah, exactly.
But even within Europe, you said there's some big regional differences.
Massive.
Okay, like what?
Well, take the UK. Their return rate's around 35%. Part of that is because of those next-day delivery options and try-before-you-buy schemes. It makes it really easy to bracket.
Right.
Then you've got Germany, a whooping 50% return rate.
50%? It's like every other item's going back.
It's a lot, and it's interesting because it seems like their history of catalog shopping, where ordering multiple sizes was totally normal, has kind of spilled over into their online behavior.
So even though technology's changed the way we shop, those habits, they stick around.
They do. It's fascinating.
What about some of the other European countries?
Okay, so France, their return rate is actually lower comparatively, 29%.
Okay.
And they've been focusing on really accurate product descriptions.
Okay, to manage expectations.
Exactly. Fewer surprises when you open the package means fewer returns.
Makes sense.
And then you have Italy, the lowest in Europe, 22%.
Wow, that's quite a difference from, say, Germany.
Huge.
I'm guessing there are cultural factors at play there, too.
Yeah, definitely. Their shopping habits are more conservative, and there's this cultural thing against returning things. It's just not done as much there.
So we've got this European roller coaster of return rates. What about here in North America, in the U.S. specifically?
Okay, so the U.S. is somewhere in the middle.
Okay.
Return rates there are between 25 and 30%. And we see this massive spike during the holiday season.
Oh, yeah.
All those gifts, right? The impulse purchases, prime time for returns.
So are we seeing that same bracketing behavior in the U.S.?
Absolutely. It's even more common here. And those big companies like Amazon with their free shipping, their try before you buy offers, well, they're encouraging it.
So retailers are kind of stuck,
Yeah.
right? They want to offer convenience, but it comes at a cost.
You got it. It's this balancing act for sure. Now let's switch gears completely and look at the Asia-Pacific region.
Okay.
Because the return rates there tell a very different story.
All right, I'm intrigued. What's going on in Asia-Pacific?
Well, it's got the lowest return rates globally,
Okay.
ranging from 5 to 15%.
Wow, that's a huge difference.
Oh, yeah, huge.
What's driving that?
Well, a lot of it has to do with cultural norms, kind of discouraging returns.
Okay.
And plus the logistical challenges. It's just not that convenient to return things in a lot of places.
So sometimes those logistical challenges actually work in the retailer's favor.
I guess you could say that, yeah.
Okay.
So in China, for example, the return rate's around 15%.
Okay.
Part of that's because they have so much affordable fast fashion available.
So maybe less of a need to return.
Exactly.
You buy it, you wear it, you're done.
Yeah, exactly. Plus, their logistics system isn't as smooth as other parts of the world, so returning things just isn't that easy.
It's interesting, right? It's not always about having that super slick, super fast system.
Yeah.
Sometimes those limitations can actually benefit the bottom line.
Yeah, it's true.
What about India? Any interesting trends there?
So India is interesting because they have a return rate of 15 to 20%.
Okay. But they have this cash-on delivery system that makes it unique.
Okay, how so?
Well,
People reject a lot of orders right at the doorstep.
So it's not even a traditional return.
Not really, no.
More of a rejection.
Exactly.
That's an important distinction.
Yeah.
So what about Southeast Asia generally?
Well, on average, they're around 10%.
Okay.
Probably because of logistical costs, and their culture tends to be a bit more cautious when it comes to shopping.
So people really think twice before they hit that buy button. Makes sense. And of course, we can't forget Japan.
The champion.
They seem to be winning the lowest return rate award.
Oh, yeah, they're at like 8%.
That's crazy.
It's amazing.
What's their secret?
It's a cultural thing. Returning items is seen as, you didn't make the right decision in the first place. It's like a failure.
Interesting.
Plus, their pre-purchase customer service is just amazing.
So you get all the info you need up front.
Exactly. They help you find the perfect thing the first time so you don't have to return it.
Wow, so we've seen this whole world map of returns, right?
Yeah.
Europe is high, Asia Pacific is low, North America somewhere in between.
Yeah.
But before we move on to solutions, let's break things down by product category. That could be really helpful for our listeners.
Absolutely. This is where you can see how your own data lines up with, the rest of the industry.
Yeah, okay.
So the highest return rates, we see those in dresses, 54%.
Okay, so if you're a retailer selling dresses, you've got to pay attention to returns.
Big time. And then skirts come in close behind at 47%.
All right, so dresses, skirts. What about shoes? I feel like those are always tricky.
Oh, yeah. Shoes are consistently high no matter where you are, often exceeding 50% in the Western markets especially.
All right, so those are some benchmarks for our listeners.
Yeah.
But what are the big culprits driving these returns? Like, why are people actually sending stuff back?
The number one reason globally, sizing issues.
Yeah, makes sense.
53% of apparel returns are because of sizing. It's just tough to find that perfect fit online.
We've all been there.
Yeah, you get that package, you're excited, you try it on, and it's either too big or too small or just doesn't fit right.
Recipe for return.
Totally. But it's not just about the customer being disappointed. There's a bigger impact.
Okay.
A study by PwC found that 32% of customers will abandon a brand they love after just one bad experience, like getting ill-fitting clothes.
Wow, that's a big deal.
Yeah.
It's not just one return. It's losing that customer.
Absolutely. Sizing, it really matters.
Yeah.
Get it right, and you can build those relationships. Get it wrong, and, you lose that customer.
All right, so sizing is huge. What else is making people hit that return button?
Well, another big one is product misrepresentation.
Oh, yeah, that what I ordered versus what I got situation.
Exactly.
It looks nothing like the picture online.
Happens all the time, and it could be the material, the color, even the style, anything that makes it different from what you expected.
Yeah, I think that erodes trust so quickly.
Oh, yeah, big time. And we can't forget about bracketing, right?
Yeah.
That's still a big contributor, especially in those Western markets with those free shipping and easy return policies.
Right, it's that customer convenience, that try before you buy mentality.
Yeah.
So how much do cultural influences play into all this?
Yeah.
Because you mentioned, return behavior is different around the world.
It really is. It's almost like you've got two different shopping cultures.
Okay, tell me about that.
So you've got the Western markets where liberal return policies rule.
Okay.
Customer satisfaction is everything. Bracketing is normal.
Okay.
Convenience is king. Then you've got the Asian markets where returns, they're generally frowned upon.
Really?
Yeah, it's like you made a bad purchase.
Interesting. Like it's a reflection on you as a shopper.
Yeah, almost. You should have gotten it right the first time. And that's reflected in their customer service, too. So think about Japan with that personalized pre-purchase assistance.
Right.
They're all about making sure you're totally confident with your choice from the get-go.
Fewer returns.
Exactly. It's two totally different philosophies about shopping, really.
Yeah, I see that.
Yeah.
But within those cultures, do you have any specific examples that really highlight these differences?
Absolutely. Look at Germany, their high return rate, like we said.
Yeah.
Part of that's tied to their history of catalog shopping. Ordering multiple sizes was just how you shopped. And that behavior just seems to have, moved online.
So past shopping habits really can shape those current trends.
Oh, yeah. It's a return legacy.
I like that. Okay, so Germany. What about other examples?
Well, look at India. Their cash-on-delivery system, like we talked about, it leads to more rejected orders than actual returns.
Right.
It's unique to their market.
So many interesting cultural nuances. Okay, let's shift gears a bit and talk about the business impact of returns. This is where it gets real for our listeners, right?
Oh, yeah. This is where the numbers, they really hit home.
Yeah.
Globally, returns cost e-commerce businesses about, get this, $816 billion annually.
That is a lot of money.
And in the U.S. alone, reverse logistics, just getting those returns back, another $10 to $15 billion each year.
Wow, those are serious numbers. And it's not just the financial cost.
Right.
There's the environmental impact, too.
Huge environmental impact. Over 5 billion pounds of returned products end up in U.S. landfills every single year. And globally, shipping those returns back, over 16 million metric tons of CO2 emissions.
Wow, that's a lot.
To put that into perspective, that's like powering 2 million homes for a year.
That's a sobering thought.
Yeah.
But there's a silver lining here, right?
Yeah.
Happy customers are loyal customers, and returns are a part of that.
You got it. Research shows that 92% of consumers are more likely to buy from a company again if they had a positive return experience.
So a well-managed return process can actually be a competitive advantage.
Oh, absolutely. It's not just about damage control. It's about building trust and loyalty.
Yeah.
Turning a potential negative into a positive.
I love that.
Yeah.
So how do we actually do that? How do we turn this returns challenge into an opportunity?
Well, there are some really cool solutions out there. One of the most promising is AI-driven sizing.
Okay, I've heard a little bit about this, but explain it for our listeners.
Imagine a world where customers get personalized size recommendations. No more guessing, no more ordering 3 different sizes just to be sure.
Okay, so fewer returns, happier customers. How effective is this in the real world?
It's pretty impressive. Studies show it can reduce return rates by 20 to 30%.
That's huge.
Yeah, and it can also boost conversion rates by 15 to 20%.
That's significant.
And improve overall conversion by at least 3%. So it's a win-win-win. Fewer returns, happier customers, more sales.
Sign me up.
Right.
Okay, so AI is a big one. What are some other strategies retailers can use to tackle this?
Well, we talked about accurate product descriptions, right? High-quality photos, detailed info about materials, about fit, even user-generated content like reviews. All of that helps set realistic expectations.
So transparency is key.
Oh, yeah. Give your customers the info they need up front, and they'll be more likely to make the right decision the first time.
What about those virtual try-on tools? Are those gaining traction?
Big time. The technology is getting so sophisticated, customers can actually see how clothes would look on their own bodies.
Oh, wow. It's like bringing the fitting room to the customer's living room.
Exactly. And don't forget about good old-fashioned customer service.
Right.
Personalized pre-purchase advice, offering live chat support, being proactive about sizing concerns, all of that can really make a difference.
So it's a multi-pronged approach, right?
Absolutely. Leveraging technology, investing in that customer service, constantly looking for ways to improve the shopping experience.
You got to look at the whole picture.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's a holistic strategy that empowers your customers to make those informed decisions.
Okay, so this all sounds great in theory, but I'm sure our listeners are wondering, okay, what does this look like in practice?
I gotcha.
Are there any companies out there who are doing this really well?
Absolutely. Let's start with a company that's leading the charge in using technology to minimize returns. ASOS.
Okay, I've heard of them.
They've implemented a virtual try-on tool that uses augmented reality.
Ooh, fancy.
Yeah, customers can actually see how clothes would look on their own bodies.
How's that work?
It's pretty cool. They use their smartphone camera to create a 3D model of themselves.
Oh, wow.
And then they can virtually try on different garments, see how they fit and drape. It even takes into account body shape, height, skin tone.
So it's really personalized.
Super personalized, and it's working. ASOS has seen a significant reduction in return rates since they implemented this tool.
That's fantastic. Proof that technology can really make a difference.
Big time. Now, for a case study and also customer service, let's look at Zappos.
Oh, yeah, Zappos. They're famous for their customer service.
The best. They have this no questions asked return policy, and they go above and beyond to make the return process super easy.
I've heard great things. What are some of the things they do differently?
Well, they offer free return shipping. They even provide prepaid return labels.
Oh, wow.
They have a dedicated customer service team available 24/7 to answer questions and help with the process.
So they're really putting the customer first, even when it comes to returns.
Always. And it's paid off. Zappos has built this loyal following, customers who appreciate their commitment to satisfaction.
So a well-executed return policy can really set you apart.
Yeah, huge competitive advantage. Now, we can't forget about sustainability.
It's a big deal.
It's becoming more and more important for customers and brands. One company doing amazing things in this space is Patagonia.
Oh, yeah, Patagonia.
They launched this program called Wornwear, which encourages customers to repair, reuse, recycle their gear.
I love that. It's about extending the life cycle of clothing and keeping things out of landfills.
Exactly. They offer free repairs. They have a platform where you can buy and sell used Patagonia gear. They're even working to develop new, more sustainable materials and manufacturing processes.
They're really taking a holistic approach to sustainability. It's really inspiring to see brands actually walking the walk.
It is. Now, bringing it back to bracketing.
Right, that order 3 sizes, return 2 dilemma.
It's tricky because it's all about customer convenience, but it's not sustainable for business or the environment.
Right.
So one option is stricter return policies. Some companies charge for return shipping. Some limit the number of items you can return.
Okay, so kind of disincentivizing that bracketing behavior.
Exactly. Make it a little less convenient, maybe a little more costly. But it's a balancing act. You don't want to alienate your customers.
Right. It's about being transparent.
Oh, yeah. Communication is key. Explain those policy changes. Help people understand why.
Don't just spring some surprise fee on them.
Exactly. Now, aside from policy changes, technology can help address bracketing, too.
Okay.
We talked about virtual try-on tools, but there are other innovations like AI-powered algorithms that can generate those personalized size recommendations.
Right, based on measurements and past purchases.
Exactly. Reduce the uncertainty, reduce the need to bracket.
I see.
And some companies are even testing out subscription boxes. Customers try on multiple items at home before they commit to buying.
Oh, that's interesting. So it's like taking that fitting room experience and putting it right into the customer's home.
Exactly.
I like it. So there's a lot of experimentation going on in this space.
Oh, yeah.
It's about finding those solutions that work for everyone.
Absolutely. It's a conversation that needs to keep happening.
Yeah.
Explore new ideas, adapt to those changing customer behaviors.
Okay, so as we start wrapping up our deep dive here, what are some of the big takeaways for our listeners? Retailers, what should you remember about returns?
I think the most important thing to remember is returns, they're just part of doing business online.
Yeah.
It's not going away.
Part of the theme.
Exactly. So instead of seeing it as this nuisance, embrace it. It's valuable feedback.
Okay.
It tells you what's working, what's not, what your customers want.
So use those returns to learn and grow.
Exactly. Don't just process them, analyze them.
Okay, good point.
What else? Technology, it can be your best friend here. Invest in those tools that can help minimize those returns.
Like the AI sizing we talked about.
Exactly.
Virtual try-on.
All of that. It helps customers make those smarter decisions up front, which means fewer returns later on.
Okay, so technology is key. What else should retailers be thinking about?
Think about that return process itself. Make it seamless, make it customer friendly.
Okay.
This is your chance to really build loyalty, build trust, even when someone is returning something.
So make those returns easy, make them hassle-free, make sure those refunds are processed quickly.
Exactly.
Okay, what about sustainability? We can't forget about that.
Absolutely. This is a big one. Explore those sustainable solutions like Patagonia's Wornwear. Encourage customers to be mindful shoppers. Buy less, buy better.
Shoppers, this one's for you. What are your takeaways? What are the big things to remember from this deep dive?
Be a conscious shopper. Take your measurements, consult the size charts, read those product descriptions.
Just skim them.
Really read them.
Wow.
Get all the info you need. And if you're not sure, ask.
Reach out to customer service.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They're there to help. And finally, remember those returns. They do have an environmental impact.
Yeah.
Let's all try to minimize those returns, not just for our wallets, but for the planet too.
Well said. Now, before we officially wrap up, I want to leave everyone with a thought-provoking question. What if, instead of viewing returns as a problem, we saw them as an opportunity?
Ooh, I like that. An opportunity for what?
An opportunity to learn, to innovate, to build those stronger relationships with our customers. It's a shift in perspective.
It's like those return packages. They're not failures.
Right.
They're data points. They're feedback.
Yeah.
A chance to do better.
I love that. So let's embrace that opportunity. That's it for our deep dive into the world of clothing returns.
I had a great time.
Thanks so much for joining us. I hope everyone found it insightful, inspiring, and maybe even a little bit transformative.
Yeah, me too.
So until next time, keep exploring, keep innovating, and keep those return rates in check. Well, remember, every return is a story waiting to be told. Listen carefully, and you might just uncover those secrets to a more successful and sustainable future for your business.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for joining us on The Deep Dive.